Yeah, hi there. These comments are for S, and this is Michael. I am the founder, owner, and the materials writer for Stealth, the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. So in your situation, you said my director wants me to put together an exit strategy, basically an in-house exam, so that our ESL graduates can demonstrate their L2 proficiency readiness for standard university classroom instruction. We've had poor results with TOEFL Michigan and the AccuPlacer options. Essentially, we'd like to create a homegrown test that measures important linguistic skills without overwhelming the students. The English department will need to review it later, but step one is to put it together. So since you are an authority on such matters, what suggestions can you make? All right. Number one, you need a speaking section. And I would suggest using the independent speaking rubrics for the TOEFL, I think, as your benchmark for this one. It would be really easy because you have really, there's 4 possible scores on the speaking section: 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0. And then when you guys are doing when you're scoring the speaking, you can have at least 2 people do it, then you can average the 2 together. You might end up with a number like 1.5 or 2.5 and so on. But anyway, maybe a score of 1, you might say, is 0 to 10 points. If they score in the 2 range somewhere, you might assign 11 points, 11 to 20 points. If they score in the 3 range, maybe 21 to 30 points. And if they score 4, then you're looking at we'll say 31 points here. So the highest number of points they can assign here is 31 points for the speaking section. And that's very easy to do, and the rubrics are already at ETS. If you type in independent speaking rubrics for the TOEFL IBT, you will find some really easy guidelines, and it's very easy to score that. And you just give them a independent type speaking question, and you can say, hey, you got 2 or 3 minutes to think about it. They can write down some notes, and then they can answer the question. Then you guys can use the rubrics to give them a score. Now the second thing you want to do is you need a writing sample, and I would suggest the independent writing rubric for the TOEFL also, and that'll be very, very easy again. Now this one's going to be worth more points. There's actually scores of 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and then 5.0. So again, you can say 0 to 10 if you score 1 or in the 1 range. In the 2 range, 11 to 20 points. If you're in the 3, it would be 21 to 30 points. Then you have 31 to 40 points, and then in the 5 range you have 41 points or higher on that. Okay, so now we have 41 points total. Then the last thing you want to do is you do need some type of multiple choice thing that's a little bit more objective and not as subjective. And I think, I know you don't like the Michigan test from what you said, but you could use it, just as 1 of 3 things, right? So here, we know there's 100 points total, right? And now you have, let's say you have the listening section, grammar section, the vocabulary section, and the reading section. Actually, it'll be worth more than 100 points. Okay, the listening, let's say times 2. Grammar times 2. Vocabulary, sometimes some will keep it the same. Keep that one, we'll just say times 1, which means we'll just do this, and then reading times 2. So now we have the listening section. There are 20 questions, so there's a possibility of getting 40 points on this one. Grammar, there are 30 questions times 2, so there's a possibility of getting 60 points on this one. That makes any sense? You have vocabulary. There are 30 questions. Reading, there's 20 times 2, which means 40. So now we have 100, 130, and we have 170 here. So there's 170 points possible on the Michigan test. And this should give you a pretty good spread. This should help you discriminate, I think, among the different abilities fairly easily. So now we have the total number of points on your placement test. Would be, let me use my terrible at math here. So we got 170, 41, then we have 31. So the total is 242 points, right? So now the next question is, you now have a placement test which incorporates speaking, it incorporates writing, and it also incorporates the Michigan test in there. So the Michigan is 170 points total, the writing is 41, and then the speaking is 31 points total. Now if you want to make the speaking a bigger thing, which maybe is probably better, it's possible to take this and to go 0 to 20. Then you go 21, to 40. This could give you a little bit better spread, and that'll put the speaking up a little bit more. 41 to 60. And then we can say 61 or higher. Now we have the speaking, which is a little bit better than what it was before. At least it'll be more of it'll be considered more of a factor in the overall score if you want to do that. And the writing is at 41, so you can kind of fool around with it however you want, right? Now if we take a look at this revised version, we have a total of 170 plus 41, 61. That puts us at 272. So now we go back down here and revise this. Now the question here is how many levels do you want? And it's probably not that big of a, you can probably figure out fairly easily, where you want to put everybody. If you just start out with a number, what would be your ultimate goal in your program? Would you want, for example, would you consider if they're 80% proficient in these areas, that maybe puts them at the highest level, right? You may start at 80, then you go down to 70, then 60, then 50, then 40, then 30. So let's say you start at 80% proficiency, right? That gives you a range for your highest level. Let's say you go to 70% proficiency, which gives you a range for your next level. Then you go down to 60. course, these things are never exact. You have to kind of fool around with it and then see how it plays out. But this is definitely going to give you a way of understanding where everybody fits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we say 30% proficiency, you see what we're doing here? Is now we're just figuring out, based on your test, what you want to do. And okay, now we take 80 out of 272. We're going to take 80% of that, which means 217. So 217 plus is going to put you at the highest level. Now if we go to the next one, 272 we go down to 70%. So now we know the next level starts at 190 and then it goes to 216. Then the next level, we take 272 times 60%, that's 163. And that goes to 189. You see what we're doing? And we're figuring out our spreads, but you have to kind of determine how you want to do it. But this is going to give you fairly good then we have 272 times 50%. That's going to go 136 points to 162. Now we get down to 40%. That's 108 all the way to 135 would be the level there. And then we have times 30%. This is going to put you at 81 through 107. So what do you do now, I guess? I mean, maybe you can say 80% proficiency might be level 6 or your graduate program. You might say 70% proficiency might be your level 5. Or those students matriculating into undergraduate study, they're probably going to do fairly well with that area. Then you go down to 60, level 4, level 3, level 2, and then level 1. You see what I'm saying? This would probably give you a fairly quick, easy way to place your students. The speaking is very easy to do. The rubrics are already established by the TOEFL, not a major problem. The same thing with the independent writing, and then of course the Michigan test. That would just be my suggestion as one way of establishing some type of what's called exit type strategy that you could use for your students to determine if they are ready for university study. And then you don't have to worry about the TOEFL, and this would not cost really any money to put together at all, and it would be very, very easy to implement. Alright, so I hope this answers your question. If you have any other questions, you can send me back another email if you want. Alright?